excited here today as this series needs an extension. 10 sets were not enough. The question now, will the dynasty continue for the Cignal HD Spikers, or will destiny prevail for the Criss Cross King Crunchers? That is our matchup for the 6th and final time here in our 2025 Spikers Turf Open Conference. It is Cignal versus Criss Cross for all the marbles, winner take all here inside the Phil Sports Arena. And we do thank you for joining us here today. We thank you for joining us throughout this competition. The ground underneath the Phil Sports Arena will shake with the power and the passion of these two teams, buoyed by their number of supporters who have shown up in the hundreds to join us in expectation of what should be a great matchup. Jude Garcia, can he lead his team to a championship? We know the MVPs are there, but he wants a victory for the entire squad. On the other side, the heart and soul of the Cignal HD Spikers, Jao Mandal, elevating his performance here in the finals. They need one more big game coming from this star. I'm Carlo Pamintuan, wishing you a good afternoon, working with Mr. Ringo. Our final game for the Open Conference, Criss Cross King Crunchers versus the Cignal HD Spikers. Series is tied at 1 win apiece. Again, 2 5-setters already in the books, and we're hoping and praying for another epic encounter between these two teams.
Sincerely, we are hoping and praying, and how fitting it is, because arguably this is one of the best matchups thus far.
And they've turned into bitter rivals, Criss Cross and Cignal, ever since the arrival of Criss Cross here in our Spikers Turf competition. They did not shy away from what their goal was. They want to be champions, and they will have to go through Cignal to be able to get there. Criss Cross defeated Cignal April 4. That was game 2 of our final series. They looked good. For a time, it looked like they were gunning for the sweep, but then Cignal rose from the dead, forced a 5th set, but ultimately, the King Crunchers prevailed in the end.
Well, you did mention dynasty. I mean, Cignal looked like they're going, like you said, going to go down in 3, but Coach Dexter Leet made a calculated risk, I would say, bringing or changing his lineup, bringing Retamar and Louis Ramirez. That made all the difference. They forced a 5th set only to fall short, but Carlo, what do you expect? It's Criss Cross versus Cignal. We need to go to a game 3, right?
I did my computations. I did my calculations. You know the total points scored by these two teams? For Criss Cross, it's 207.
Wow.
For Cignal HD, it's 206. 1 point,
1 point
separates these two teams in this series, and that is why we know that this would be a good one as well. It really helps when the other guys, when the other players show up and show their worth here in this final series. Jaron Riquenton, we saw what he can do throughout the elimination round, throughout the semifinals, but standing tall and delivering, especially in the clutch in the 5th set, to help his team survive.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, Carlo, these Beach Boys for Criss Cross has been making waves in the indoors versus Jude Garcia. Now Jaron Requenton, what a conference he has been having. A great compliment to Jude Garcia, the current MVP or the reigning MVP, 17 points in game 2, and he was instrumental in pushing this to a deciding game 3.
He really believes in his talent. He really believes that he can help Criss Cross turn themselves into champions. This guy is no stranger to winning championships. Joshua Ratemar, as you said, given the opportunity late in that matchup, and he really helped Cignal turn things around.
Yeah, I mean, he was a great acquisition for this franchise, no? Retamar coming off the collegiate ranks. And yeah, he came off the bench because Coach Dex had a lot of other plans in mind. But what was important is, you know, they play well when they're called upon. 13 excellences, although in the 5th set, he suffered from cramps. So hoping today the people who are actually injured or feeling something will actually be 100%.
Of course, the top stars will have to bring it. They will have to be golden here today. We're talking about Jude Garcia, proud product of FTU, and Jao Mandal of USD. They are the MVPs of their respective squads, and they will have to be on point. They will have to lead their squad to the championship here and now.
We have to say Clash of the Titans, really a monster matchup. Jude Garcia reigning 2024 Open Conference MVP, and then also 2024 Jawa Mandal 2023 Open Conference MVP. So yeah, I mean, these two players are really gonna have to play big in today's winner-take-all match.
We're inviting everyone to join the conversation. We send it over to Ayana Perlas to tell us how.
Thank you so much, Carlo and Noreen. Yes, we are so excited to hear from our supporters online, most especially on the Pilipinas Live app. For those of you watching on the app, we have our poll question of the day right below your streams. Our question is, who will take the edge in this Game 3? Again, who will take the edge in Game 3? Who will provide the edge in Game 3? You can also join our conversation online by using our hashtag SpikersTurf2025, and follow us on all of our social media platforms. That is on Facebook, Instagram, and X to stay updated on our next conference. Pero syempre today, Game 3 na ng Championship Series. Let's now turn it over to our venue announcer for the starting lineup.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Phil Sports Arena in Pasig City and Season 8, the Open Conference of the Spikers Turf, where power meets passion. Today is the final match, a face-off, if you will, between these two powerhouse teams to determine who will be crowned champion of this season's Open Conference. For match number 41, let us welcome the winners of Game 2 of the finals, hungry for a crown, our Criss Cross King Crunchers. And our defending champions, the winners of Game 1 of the finals, our Cignal HD Spikers. Presenting our officials for this match. First referee, Mr. Herbert Matematico, international referee. Second referee, Mr. Patrick Alan Castillo, national referee. Let's call on our starting lineup from our Criss Cross King Crunchers. Let's begin with jersey number 1, Angelo Nicolas Almendras. At number 2, Jaron Requinton. Wearing jersey number 4, Kim Malabunga. At number 5, Jude Garcia. Wearing jersey number 14, Esmilzo Joner Polvorosa. And number 16, Giancarlo Glorioso. Starting libero is number 22, Manuel Sumangid III. Head coach, Mr. Anusorn, Coach Tai Bundit. Presenting our defending champions, the Cignal HD Spikers. Let's start with their team captain, who wears jersey number 8, John Paul Bugawan. At number 3, Owa Retamar. Wearing jersey number 4, Steven Rotter. At number 10, Wendell Miguel. Wearing jersey number 11, Joshua Umandal. And number 20, Lloyd Josaphat. Starting libero is number 7, Vince Lorenzo. Head coach, Mr. Dexter Clamore. This is match number 41, Season 8, the Open Conference of the Spikers
We can
Turf.
feel the tension inside the Ultra. Your starters for Criss Cross, Requinton, Glorioso, Almendras, Garcia, Malabunga, Polvorosa, And sumanggid as their libero on the other side. It's Roder, Josephat, Miguel, Umandal. With JP Bugawan and Retamar as their unit. You need to get a good start. That is key. Always, especially in a do-or-die game 3.
Well, you and I were talking about it in the prod room that it's not about stats anymore. It's really about the mindset, the psyche coming into this game because talent is already undeniable. Coaches have their game plan, so it's up to the players and how they're going to bring it out inside the court.
And for the coaches, will you do something risky? Will you bet on something big? These are the correct starters for the Cignal HD Spikers, and they're ready to start the ball game now. It will be Joshua Retamar on the opener, and he will get the first serve.
Here we go.
Pancake save coming from Lorenzo. Requinton the first touch, and he scores the first point of the match.
Well, he gets the nod to start today, and we did talk about it in our pregame. Great compliment to Jude Garcia.
He was deemed as the best player of Game 2. Was in tears in celebration of that big win.
Well, it's a hard-fought series, we have to say. So you appreciate the effort of both these teams.
Roter with the first touch, scoring in a similar fashion.
Well, you know, Steven Roter really is going to be key today because it takes, if he's on point, it takes a lot of pressure away from Jao Mandal, who's going to be guarded, you know, by the blockers of Criss Cross.
The tap picked up by Retamar. Montero will set it up. Umandal.
Wow!
Scored on a similar point in Game 1. A crucial point in the 5th set. Just tossing it over where the defense was not available.
Well, it looked really awkward, but you know that it was calculated for Jao Mandal.
And now he will have an opportunity to keep the defense guessing. That's too much. But they say that there is a touch admitted by the defense of Cignal. Score is tied 2 apiece.
Yeah, I think there was a touch. That was a good call by the referee.
Glorioso.
Whoa.
Touching the tape there. Retamar goes to Bugawan. Activated early in this match.
Yeah, you know, we talked about the matchup between Jude Garcia and Jao Mandal. What about Retamar versus Ish Polvorosa? You know, they really, their decision-making today really has to be on point.
The serve has been pretty safe coming from Cignal, and it's giving Crisscross good opportunities to attack. Second point for the Quinton.
Well, they know, that's what I'm saying, decision-making. They know that Jude Garcia will be marked, so you got to try to get the other players' touches.
Retamar goes to Roder, wipes it off the block of Garcia, and out of bounds. Cignal regains the lead.
Yeah, that was smart. You know, that was smart. You had a one-on-one. I'm not just going to use brute strength. I'm just going to use my wits here.
Roder, first big serve of the match. They go to the quick.
Whoa.
Oh, that could have still been saved as Montero takes a facial.
These liberos, you don't envy them. We're going to see more of that, I feel, today.
Sure. For all, and don't be surprised if this will be a theme, right? Multiple ties, multiple deadlocks.
Whoa!
And the lead shifts back to Cignal HD. Josephat scoring.
Well, how good has Lloyd Josephat been also this conference? He has improved by leaps and bounds. His quick, normally when you talk about middle blockers for Cignal, it's always Bugawan, JP Bugawan. But Josephat has really made a mark this conference.
10 points in Game 2. Mighty serve there over reception, and it results to a point for Miguel.
Boy, that gave me goosebumps. You know, I mean, really, that serve.
Yeah.
How we wish you guys can come
Yep,
over
yep. And
to
actually
the
hear
Phil
it,
Sports, right?
see it for yourselves. Jao Mandal serving again. They said the first few were safe. Mandal's not interested with that. But he sends this one straight into the net.
Well, that's what we expect from Jao Mandal. 110% effort, really, in everything. Serve, blocking, hitting.
Malabunga serving now. Lorenzo with the first touch. Roder with a hammer.
That was a great set by Retamar. Excellent set, we have to say. Look at that. Open look for Steve Rotter.
Lloyd Josephat serving again. Been targeting Garcia. Almendras, they had an opportunity, but hesitation between Rotter and Umandal leaves an opening.
I know what you mean. I mean, we're so used to the strong hits. This one is like not too strong, questionable, gettable. But yeah, I mean, the hesitation made all the difference.
Polvorosa now serving. Retamar goes to the quick. It gets through, but it's saved from the back.
Oh!
Straight into the net for Garcia.
Uncharacteristic errors.
And that will lead us to our first technical timeout of the opening set. It is 8.
Series Game 3. Now here a quick trivia to all our viewers watching. Did you guys know that this is the first Game 3 since 2017? And with that being said, that just adds more hype and power, where power meets passion for our players in today's game. And speaking of hype and power, let's talk about the Cignal HD Spikers. Head coach Dex Clamor knows how different this conference and Game 3 is for them dahil sila naman daw ang underdogs ngayon. You're right, Carlo Nareen, it's really about mindset and psyche today. Para sa Cignal, they admitted na nawawala sila sa focus, composure, masyado silang pressured kaya sila natalo in Game 2. Kaya for today, ang sabi ni Coach Dex was to work as one team. He talked to his setters since sila talagang magdedictate ng pace ng team nila, and that is why he started Owa Retamar today. Owa is able to provide unpredictability and syempre is able to utilize their outsides more. Back to you guys.
Well, win to get in. Catch the 2025 NBA Play-In Tournament this April 16 to 19. Only on NBA TV Philippines and Filipinas Live. Use the hashtag Everything Counts. But my goodness, what a point for Cignal. You can see the intensity immediately coming from the coaching staff.
That rally deserves a moment of silence.
Maybe two. That will be a net violation against Wendell Miguel. A little too close. Lost control of his hands.
Yeah, one-on-one.
Yun, yung pababa eh.
Yeah. But I can sense, early on here in the first set, Cignal is pumped, really.
That will be called outside. So another point for Cignal. They're up by 3.
Steve Rotter again using his volleyball smarts there, just hitting it off Requinton.
Ten to 7 as Wendell Miguel will serve. Polvorosa goes to Requinton, picked up by Miguel. Rotter denied.
Well, Retamar actually knows that Rotter's been pretty successful with his skills. But Jude Garcia, total stoppage there.
Knew it was coming. Was waiting for it. That is out. Too long. First service error of this match.
Well, you want to avoid these service errors in such a close game, especially Criss Cross, because you are chasing here in set number 1.
That one rolls through for Bugawan. It is kept alive, tossed over. A cut defended well by Retamar. Umandal picked up. Requinton goes cross court. Tug up. Umandal. Easy pickup there for Garcia. They go to Requinton. Oh, hesitation between the two. Umandal.
Oh, good dig.
Mind-numbing power coming from Jude Garcia as a punctuation to that amazing exchange.
You know what was amazing is the kills were normal. Normal strong, but the digs. Oh, Retamar. I mean, it's really adding drama to this game. But yeah, I mean, Criss Cross, much needed point.
Good serve from Requinton. Retamar goes to the quick. Tapped over to the other side. Garcia is denied.
But you know, both teams should expect these monster blocks. Coverage has to be on point. It has to be, they have to work double time to cover the balls.
Returning the favor to the guy who blocked him earlier.
Right back at ya.
Tit for tat. Roder with 4 points.
Oh.
Good serve. Retamar with a set. They go to Umandal, and that is long on the block.
Yeah, that was smart hit, targeting the smaller blocker in Ishpol Verosa.
Timeout requested by the Criss Cross King Crunchers. Let us listen in.
Para makapalo tayo ng maayos. Thinking. King, ha?
Okay. Hinga muna, hinga. Isipin niyo yung ginagawa niyo kung tama ba. Tulong-tulong kayo sa harap. Kung ano yung nakikita niyo na kailangan gawin, pag-usapan niyo. Kasi parang pag-sumadala yung bola, tuloy-tuloy lang.
Taga, let's go team! May Crisscross! Crisscross! Apat lang yan, kapitan natin.
Coach Tai with a little bit. Assistant Coach Marcus Bejo with a lot. Of course, as a veteran of this squad, leading that timeout. Reminding Ishpol Verosa to take a look at the middles just to vary up their attacks.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Kim Malabunga has been having a monster conference as well. You want to go to him.
Another service error. And sometimes when you go to the jump serve, you go all over the place.
It's 50-50, but they'll take it. You know, they're not going to take anything off of what they do, even in the service area.
Retamar goes back to Mandal.
Good
Dive,
cover.
Kept alive. Miguel will send it across. What? Play is halted as Criss Cross is requesting for footage. Possible net fault.
Well, we did see Jao Mandal right in front of us saying, wala, wala.
But that's the thing. When you kill a rally, when the ball is alive, you risk giving up a point, right?
Yeah.
To Cignal when it was going to be an easy over to your side. So they better be sure.
Yeah, we always say that's the huge risk if you stop the rally because no point has been awarded. Oh, yes. Good challenge, we have to say.
And they were sure.
Well, yeah, you know, adrenaline for Jao Mandal. He was one who said wala, but he was one who actually touched the net, so he didn't feel that. Well, I thought that was a verdict, but there's a lull here.
Maybe it was the timing of when the net violation happened. They're still taking a look at it.
Well,
I think it's just for both teams to see exactly what transpired. So it is a point for Crisscross. 13-11, a 2-point lead for Cignal HD now.
yeah, so again, let's clarify. There was a net touch. Coach Tai stopped the rally, and it was a successful challenge.
Garcia serving to inch his squad closer here. The jump set, the Quinton picked up by Rotter. Now Mandal hits it wide, no touch.
I saw the reaction of Quinton. He was so sure. He was by the line. Look at the sideline.
Ramirez coming in for Jao Mandal, who was, I think, caught off guard by the substitution.
Yeah, I mean, it is an early substitution. They are still ahead, but I feel Coach Dex wants Jao to calm down.
Service error. For Jude Garcia, gives Cignal a 2-point lead.
Boy, these errors also for Criss Cross, very untimely.
Couple of service errors for both camps. And now Ramirez. First touch of this matchup will be from the service area.
Good pass.
The quick wasn't perfect. And now Miguel. Oh, good placement coming from Montero. Miguel, one more try, denied again.
Boy, the net defense of Criss Cross working. Kin Malabunga covering the cross. Oh, great technique there by Kim Malabunga.
Retamar on the 1-2.
Boy, he sells that really well because he doesn't do that a lot. So this one really caught Criss Cross by surprise. Everybody just froze.
The ball was dead, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as it fell, you knew you had no shot. Not the best reception there, but Almendras makes something out of it.
Whoa, good
Let's
dig.
pick up from Ramirez. Rotter is sent back.
Criss Cross likes their blocks because they get the point more from the blocks than the kills. Great digs by Cignal.
Ish Polvorosa serving, his team down by 1.
Criss Cross with 4 blocks, 2 for Cignal.
Another one. And it fell already. Second point for Owar Retamar. That sends us to our second technical timeout of the first set, 16-14 for the are now available. Head on over to Philippines, WCH2025.com. tickets and get yours now. The supporters of both camps showing up. CC Rondina, one of those present, expecting a tremendous match between these two teams. Almendras was sent back.
Good save.
They scramble. Sumangid sends it across. Retamar.
Whoa.
Oh, miscommunication there. So a chance now for Criss Cross. Requinton gets it through.
Boy, how costly is that miscommunication on Cignal's part, because it was an opportunity for an attack.
Requinton picking up from where he left off in game 2. Coming up threats early. 1-point deficit for Criss Cross. Almendras serving.
Yeah, that's why we're saying Requinton's a great compliment to Jude Garcia.
They go to a quick, and it connects for Bugawan.
You know, if you look at the starting units of both teams, everyone is a threat. That's why when we say it's good to see the setters that match up, because it's how they set it, you know, the decision making.
How you outsmart the opposing defense. Requinton, and that has been a consistent source of points for Criss Cross here in the first.
Yeah, and why not go to him? You know, you milk him when he's in front. He has been so efficient for the King Crunchers.
Gunning for the tie, the King Crunchers here in the first set. Down by 1. Not a lot of power behind that. They go back to Requinton. Water picks it up. That's too close to the net. And that will go out. Tied ball game, 17 apiece.
Nerve setting in there.
And now it will be Cignal calling their timeout. Let's listen into their huddle.
Hey. Oh, lamang naman tayo kasi tayo kagad mag-side out eh. So advantage tayo. Kailangan lang natin makapasa kagad. Pag magbigay ka ng bucket, bilisan mo pa. Pero sumilip ka ha. Kung kaya mo i-isolate, kaya naman ni Louie, single block. Okay, may pipe din siya. Okay, same play. O discarte mo, pero silip ka sa bola. Pag nag-commit sa gitna, pwede mag-single block sa dulo. Side out, pasahan lang. Go, pasa lang. Go. Let's go.
Don Macandili also supporting, obviously, Cignal.
There are other players, Vince Abroad.
Yeah, and Joe Fernandez.
Guaza also there. See this pass. Ramirez could not get to it as it sails out of bounds.
Yeah,
17-17 now.
Wasted opportunity because that was a good save.
Ramirez makes up for the mistake.
You know, you have to commend Coach Dexter and his trust on the youngster, Louie Ramirez, because Louie Ramirez seems so composed in a big game like this.
That was exactly what they were talking about, right?
Yeah.
During the timeouts.
Good pass.
That block will sail out, pull us back to a deadlock.
Well, for Criss Cross, we can sense here in the first set, you know, they've been chasing, so pretty tight. I would say pretty tight, one of the tighter sets we've seen throughout the conference.
Retamar to Ramirez. He scores again.
Wow. Louie Ramirez really so focused in today's game.
Now we will have a double substitution for Cignal. AJ Casanya, Alfred Valbuena checking in. For Rotter and Retamar. On the other side, it will be Asia and Saura doing the same for Requinton and Polvorosa.
Boy, both coaches at it. The chess match continues.
One point lead for Cignal HD. Good serve from Casanya. Asia sets it up. Saura denied. Hold off the bench. Defenders were ready.
Boy, Louis Ramirez. Let's say his name again. Louis Ramirez. 2 kills
And a block.
and a block.
Owning the half 3 points of Cignal HD. And he came in as a sub for Jao Mandal. But he's delivering here. Asia with a set. Garcia pulled off some power behind it.
You need to get creative because you know the blockers will focus on you. So score some way, somehow. And this is actually him making it look so easy.
4 points already for Garcia. He will serve. Casanya with a set. Ramirez on the other side. That sails out from the block. And he scores again.
Yeah. Boy, he's got the hot hands. It was a one-on-one. Even Casanya with a great set.
Now Ramirez serving for Cignal. Up by 2.
Overpass.
And that scores. How about this? That lone substitution has changed the game for Cignal HD. Timeout for the King Crunchers. Let's listen in.
Kapitan ulit natin. Nahabol natin. Tayo muna ulit. Let's go. Atin lang set na to. Let's go for 20%. Hey, Crisscross! Crisscross!
Ramirez with a powerful serve, resulting to that point for Wendell Miguel. Ramirez had 9 points throughout Game 2, as we see, of course, the supporters of the Criss Cross King Crunchers.
Nice about this. Turned it pawn. But yeah, I mean, what a substitution.
Another strong one coming from Ramirez. Asia goes to Almendras. He won't be stopped this time.
Yeah, much needed point for Crisscross, Nico Almendras. Now the blockers are actually there. Almendras just able to dodge.
The specialist, Femi Bagalay, in the game now for the first time. Back row attack. Another point for guess who? Guess who, Noreen?
LR. Louis Ramirez from the back row. And you can, you know, you love the celebration of Coach Dex. Like he's celebrating for everyone. He has enough energy for everyone.
Josaphat serving. Almendras still tried to power it across, and he will send Cignal HD to a set point.
Yeah, it was an out-of-system set. And I feel he was way too eager to put that ball away.
To claim the opener, here we go. Not the best of receptions coming from Sumanggid. That will be called in. Coach Dexter Clamore sort himself. He says, no need to challenge. It happened.
Like the coaching staff was ready to challenge, and then he was like, wait, it's good.
And now he will call a timeout. Coach Dexter will call a timeout with his squad up by 3 here. Just 1 point needed to close out our first set.
O sistema. Kung gusto mo mag-quick si JP or quick tumba, mag-pipe 2 ka or pipe 1. Okay, pero pag nandito yung bola, JP, pumunta ka sa outside hitter 3. Basta pag nandito yung bola, pipe 3. Okay. Pero tingin ka sa spacing, sumilip ka.
Bugawan is an option. Multiple pipe options opened up by Coach Dex.
He is such a technical coach. But a full front row for Criss Cross.
Good first ball. They go to the back row. Ramirez sent it straight to the net.
Well, much appreciated error for Criss Cross. Heat check. You have to say heat check for Louis Ramirez.
Criss Cross needing 2 more points to extend this first set. Bugawan claims the first for Cignal.
He did say Coach Dex and EJ Casana talked about the different options. That was one of them, that quick to JP Bugawan.
Jumped first, hit it at an angle to avoid Glorioso as the veteran, the team captain, JP Bugawan, wins their 25th point, claiming the opener. 20 Sports Arena, checking out some of the highlights in our opener.
Well, we did mention at the top of the coverage, is it Dynasty or Destiny? In set number 1, we clearly felt for Coach Dex Clamore and Cignal, they want to tell us that it is Dynasty that's going to prevail. They were so focused. Everybody was ready. Coach Dexter was ready. And we were all surprised because Jao Mandal was actually playing pretty well, but he was subbed out. But Louis Ramirez, you mentioned that, Carlo, game changer. No, he scored from attacking, from blocking, from the serve. So, yeah, I mean, they won the first set. Criss Cross, you gotta forget the first set. We have to say, this is game 3. You want to force this to at least 4 sets.
Garcia and Requinton leading the charge for Criss Cross with a combined 10 points. As we take a look at the numbers, 18 attacks. That is massive, coming from Cignal HD to win the opener.
You don't see that very often, you know, an opponent out attacks Criss Cross. Cignal, like we said, just so focused. But we have to say also, Criss Cross had first ball problems, you know. Towards the end, we saw that, a lot of shanks, and they were only able to convert 12. You want to change that if you're Criss Cross here in set number 2. You want to have better pass and try to get more attacks, because 12 against 18, that's a no-no.
UAAP Season 87 Volleyball is live and exclusive here on Cignal. Watch it all live on the UAAP Varsity channel, One Sports and Filipinas Live, because legends start here. Okay, I know multiple people jumping through channels right now between UAAP Volleyball and, and our finals, of course. But I'm sure that if you had to choose one, I mean, it's the finals here of Spikers Serve in our open conference. We begin with Ish Polvorosa serving.
Yeah, Coach Tai opting to stay with the same 6.
That is too strong. Coming from JP Bugawan. First point of the second set belongs to the King Crunchers.
JP Bugawan showing us, I made a windmill of a hit. But Jude Garcia has only, what, 4 points or 6 points so far. So, you know, again, defensive Cignal clamping on him.
Back-to-back points now for Criss Cross as that was a block coming from Riquinton, denying Ramirez.
Yeah, that's what you want to see from Criss Cross. A strong start, couple of stops at the net.
Another good serve from Polvorosa. Rotter manages to give Cignal their first point here in the second set.
Yeah, we have to say Rotter has been really consistent for Cignal. May not be the top scorer per game, but he's always like in double digits.
Oh, Glorioso had a fingertip on it, but it was enough.
Oh, did he? I wasn't sure.
Just a tiny, tiny bit. Got a little piece of it.
And that made all the difference.
Oh, that was a strong one. Sumanggit. Ooh. Running through the seats on their bench.
Yeah, holding on to his shin.
You have to appreciate the effort coming from him, but that ball was already too far ahead.
Yeah, trying to retrieve, trying to push away all the chairs. But I can see his left leg is already heavily taped. So that was the leg that hit the chairs.
Powerful serve coming from Rotter. The push hooked up by Ramirez. Rotter overhits this one. It's long.
Yeah, Cignal, you have to be careful with these errors because you have to expect that Criss Cross will want to charge here in set number 2.
Good serve, yep.
Yeah.
And that will be a net violation against Criss Cross.
Way too eager to get that block.
On the way up, yep, clipped it.
Yeah, we have to say that was Kim Malabunga.
Ramirez serving. They go to Riquinton, sent back by Miguel. One more try, Riquinton denied again. They go to Garcia, and he towers over Josaphat to score.
At first you don't succeed, you have to keep trying. Riquinton was stopped twice. So Polvorosa made the right decision to go to Jude Garcia.
Always a good idea to go to Jude Garcia.
But you have to commend the blockers.
Yeah.
Josaphat was there.
Sure.
He was like moving left to right.
Sharp serve from Riquinton. The quick is successful for Cignal.
What about Lloyd Josaphat? We talked about him earlier. Really, he has been so effective for Cignal.
That will be too strong. A point donated by Cignal on the service setter.
For Criss Cross, they are much obliged. but for Criss Cross, you want to see more sets to the middle. I feel that's what's lacking in their game today.
Another quick. It connects again.
Boy, that pass was so near the net, but Retamar just able. Look at that. His right elbow was so close to the net.
It was right there.
So precise.
The runner slide.
Well, if Criss Cross can give passes like that, Polvorosa can go to town in the middles. That's a great response, right?
They were so happy they pulled that off to extend their lead to 2. Malabunga serving. Oh, oh boy! Rotor with an emphatic point.
I think his reaction was like that because he went into the net, but luckily the ball already had touched the ground. Like, was it good? Did I hit the net or what?
It was a point, definitely a point for Rotor. Back row attack. Ooh, it was sent back. How about Ramirez turning back Garcia?
You know that is the game plan of Cignal, right? To stop Jude Garcia at all costs.
Well, game's about to change. We have the phenom, Mark Espejo, checking in for the first time.
Boy, you don't see that all the time. Jude Garcia going out. But yeah, it is Mark Espejo. Let's see what his impact will be for Crisscross.
Almendras sent back. At attack, not pretty, coming from Crisscross. And it will be the Cignal HD Spikers claiming the lead for the first time here in the second set.
Criss Cross King Crunchers have a 3-1 record when it comes to 5-setters this conference. And syempre, kitang-kita naman natin yung improvement ng Crisscross. And a big factor is because Isay Marasigan has not seen action since day one. But Isay actually sees this as a pro since the players feel the need to step up dahil wala silang kapitan. Isay is also able to focus on every player more during training, specifically tells them what he needs to see from them, which player needs to improve on, which are either dig, service, specific plays. When Isay tells them to improve on this, they will. Kaya naman ngayon daw, pantay-pantay na sila sa skill set. Back to you guys.
Thank you for that report. It will be another slide play, but this time around, Glorioso hits it wide. 2-point lead for Cignal, turning the tide here in the second set.
You know, the defense of Cignal, because it is working, it's making Crisscross try too hard.
Yeah.
You know, you have to go back to basics because that is your strength.
Back row push coming from Espejo. Ramirez. Dug up. Now Almendras. Roofed again by Rotor.
Boy, we were talking about the defense on cue. Another monster block for Steve Rotter. One-on-one. That was pretty much a one-on-one.
Glorioso slowed down. It is sent across. But the defense could not recover anymore for Cignal.
Boy, that should boost their confidence. No? Crisscross, Ish Polverosa getting aggressive at the net.
Polverosa had a long enough stint early in this set to give them a good start. Let's see if he'll be able to get multiple serves.
Oh, good dig.
From Sumanggit. Back row attack, Espejo overcooks it.
You know, we have to say, we have to manage expectations.
Yep,
You know,
yep,
Espejo
yep.
hasn't trained long enough with the team. Although you want to get him going, you got to give him time. The question is, does he have time?
Coming into the active roster in the semifinals in their match against the Savoge Spin Doctors. Another kill block from Cignal. Their defense has been on point here in the second set, forcing this time out from Coach Tai.
Huwag natin madaliin guys, receive ha, dahan-dahan lang. Ay, wicket point. Ha? Let's go! Guys, so, masyado tayong nagmamadali. Nabasa tayo, nakapunto sila. Wala na, okay na yun. Kailangan lang natin mag-isip muna. Huwag tayong nagmamadali, huwag tayong maratel. Kung maka-block sila, nagtatrabaho sila eh. So, kailangan lang natin magtrabaho din. Naaral na natin yan. Execute na lang tayo, okay? Come on!
Next. Try. Smile lang tayo. Smile.
Let's go! Hey, Crisscross! Okay! Let's go!
This was the last point scored by the defense of Cignal. And it was Lloyd, was a pot who claimed it.
And you know, the biggest problem right now is they can't seem to find a hole in the defense.
Still all smiles, a bit nervous,
Yeah.
of course, at this stage.
Gumabaw, Valdez Panaga. But I like that huddle from assistant coach Baisa. It's really acknowledging that they're working hard. So how do we counter that? We have to work hard. Oh,
Defense. Bugawan keeps it alive. Alvorosa to Almendras, slowed down by the blockers. They set it to Ramirez. He is denied, and that is how you counter it. Work as well on your blocking.
yep. We know that is one of their strengths as well, blocking for Criss Cross. Now they're showing Cignal we can defend at the net.
It's still a 4-2 blocking advantage, though, for Cignal HD here in this second set, as they're still up by 3. Serving is Nico Almendras. Retamar has the options, and Lloyd has been on point.
He has been really a go-to for Retamar and Cignal. You know, that's how much confidence Retamar has on Josafat.
Yep.
You had Luis Ramirez and Jude Garcia on the other end. Anyone can hit.
And that is an
Wow.
ace. That is an ace for Rotter.
You know, I would have to say, Carlo, here in this match so far, you're seeing the experience of Cignal coming to play. So, Criss Cross, it ain't over. You've got to counter that. Listen to your coaches, right? You got to work hard.
Another strong serve. This will be off system. Garcia commits an attacking error. This is the biggest lead of the match now for Cignal HD. 15-9.
Because the defense of Cignal, you know, working well. Now, again, we're seeing that they're trying too hard. Sobrang gigil. And they're hitting it into the net. They have to calm down.
This one, bit long, coming from Rotter. But still, this is a decent advantage, a decent buffer from the Cignal HD Spikers at 5 points.
Well, Criss Cross, for me, they have to dig deep. Again, they have to acknowledge the fact that the talent is there. We have to come together as a team.
Glorioso serving. Retamar sets it up. That is Miguel, who's strong, and it will be a challenge. Coach Dex Clamore looking for a touch. Criss Cross saying they did not. Malabunga really asking so many questions from Garcia.
And
Totoo ba?
we were both looking at Jude Garcia and when he said like, yes. Then he said, no.
Now we will see what the result will be here in this challenge. This will officially be only our second challenge of the match. The first one, a successful one, coming from Criss Cross in the first set.
That net touch from Jao Mandal, yeah.
Was there? Wasn't there?
Was there?
No.
Yeah,
Yep.
no.
It was clean. Garcia was not kidding. He was being honest.
Yeah. Well, that was a much-needed point for Criss Cross.
So back-to-back points for them now. They need to slowly work on this. That will not help. A service error from Glorioso. Second technical timeout. Set. .30 p.m. live on Filipinas Live, and One News also available on One Sports and One Sports Plus. Cignal HD Spikers, Ms. Risa Aguilas of Cignal in attendance in support of their counterparts.
Yeah, Joel Cayuna, Acuna, Abel, and the rest.
Polvorosa had limited options there to Quinton. Oh, they can't keep it alive as he has been on point since the start of this matchup. Good percentage to score when they went to the Quinton.
But I would say that should be a good example that you have to play patient volleyball. It can't be just strong hits. It can't be your emotions getting the better of you, hitting into the blockers. A point is a point. Get creative, go over, get some fingertips, but it's not all about power. And that's what Criss Cross needs to learn.
Petamar will go to Rotter, and that is a rocket.
All systems go for Cignal here in set number 2.
And because Retamar did a great job of activating the middles, then your pin hitters can get more opportunities, easier looks.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, service ace!
Right? All systems go, everything working well for Cignal.
Criss Cross looking a bit tense, and it will lead to this double substitution. Asia and Saura coming in for Polvorosa and Riquinton. Coach Tai Bundit looking for something to eject some life to their cause here in the second set.
Well, he needs changes, yeah, for sure. So I think this is a timely substitution.
Bump set. Saura is denied. Again, the pass was tough. So you can't really be creative if you're Asia.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he tried to make do, but really, you have to say the defense of Cignal just working hard.
Asia to Garcia. That is kept alive. Retamar. And that is blocked. Garcia denying Rotter. He's requesting a higher set coming from Owa.
Yeah. But for all the Criss Cross fans, you're hoping that's going to be the spark of something big here in set number 2 because they need all the help they can get.
And that scores. Double contact against Criss Cross. 20-13. Who would have imagined this could happen? Bounces first and then second against Malabunga.
You know, that slow-mo could pretty much summarize Criss Cross here in this match so far. They're waiting. They're watching. You know, you have to take things into your own hands. take matters into your own hands. You can't be watching.
They need a run. They need a scoring spree. Could this be the start? That's certainly a welcome development. Almendras scoring against his former teammate. They go to Wendell Miguel, and he converts again.
Boy, everyone for Cignal just ready. Just ready. And that is the attitude that they're displaying here today. (21-14). Cignal HD Spikers in form here in the first two sets. From the back row, Garcia won't be stopped. Boy, that was a good set by Jewel Asia, we have to say. Pretty low. So when Jude Garcia went up for that, it's just a low pipe attack.
Double substitution. Once again for Crisscross, Ish Polvorosa and Quinton back on the floor.
Yeah, and that Crisscross has used up all their substitutions.
They go to Ramirez, and he converts again.
When you look at the blockers of Crisscross, it has been Requinton and Glorioso throughout the conference, but Louis Ramirez just punishes that two-man wall.
JP Bugawan serves. It's saved, but it scores as an ace for JP Bugawan. That is what, the third ace of Cignal HD here in this second set. They're up by 8 points, 23-15. Another timeout for the King Crunchers.
Kuha tayong momentum. Kapunta next set, pre. Kuha tayong momentum, pre. Hey, kuha na tayong momentum. Hindi pa tapos yan. No, do follow. No, do there, do follow. Cannot do. Ano pwede natin gawin? Muna to. Pag na-receive si Louie, kapupin mo dyan. Down the line. Padala ko na lang, ha. Yung follow lang dito, lahat down the line na. Ma-adjust na kayo, depensa na yung route. Yung follow sa quick, papunta lang dito. Kung ma-adjust na natin ang maayos, tapos makaka-receive tayo, hindi ma-maximize tayo. Let's go, let's go, let's go! Bye! Let's go!
JP Bugawan. Power was not there, but the placement was perfect, slipping through the fingertips of Garcia. Sumanggit did his best to keep it alive, but it would be an ace for JP as they're protecting an 8-point lead, 2 points away. They'll be okay giving that point up. But for Crisscross, it has to be consecutive points.
Yeah.
Right now, you need 4 or 5 in rapid succession just to get back into this.
Yeah, I agree. We can't afford to trade points, and you did here during the huddle. Let's get momentum here in set number 2.
They go back to Ramirez. Check ball. And they're at set point.
Boy, you know what Cignal is doing at the net. Crisscross now having problems with blocking. Hits like that, really calculated, hitting it off the hands.
Strong one from Rotter. Ish sends it to Requinton. And now a chance to claim this second set. Ramirez again. The Cignal HD Spikers, for the first time in this conference, are up 2 sets to nothing against the Criss Cross King Crunchers.
Well, that is experience for you, and they want again to establish the dynasty more than the destiny.
2-0. Ramirez, the game changer, claims
for today's Game 3 winner-take-all Spikers Turf Open Conference Finals between Criss Cross King Crunchers and Cignal HD Spikers. And yeah, if you saw the score, your eyes are not fooling you. Cignal wins set number 1 and repeats in set number 2. Cignal just the more focused team here today, really relying on a lot of their experience. And if you're watching the game, I hope you agree with us when we're saying that they're playing with a lot of heart. Right now, Criss Cross, you need to go back to the drawing board. You need to dig deep. This ain't done yet. You can still force a 5th set, but it has to start here in set number 3.
Cignal HD, ever since the start of this matchup, they just had a different look in their eyes, a different focus. And when this game changer came in, and no one could have guessed it could be possible, when he replaced Jao Umandal, who led them in scoring in Game 2, it all changed in favor of the Cignal HD Spikers. The blocks dominant and those 3 service aces, a big reason why they won that second set.
Boy, pretty much all numbers really point to a Cignal victory there. They're doing everything right. Again, if you're Cignal, you stick to your game plan. Coach Dex doing a tremendous job in coaching today. It's Criss Cross. You need really to want to win. We saw a lot of hesitation, right? A lot of hesitation. It is uncharacteristic of this team we've been following throughout the conference. You need to go back to your winning ways, and it's your mindset you need to change.
Arena Plus, Stakes of Sports. Coach Dex Clamor has done a masterful job of leading his squad. Coach Ty Bundit needing big-time changes, and you can see it from the players on the floor. Mark Espejo is there. Chu Injiga also playing for the first time in this match. Let's see how these gambles will pay off for Coach Ty here in the third.
I think this is a good change for Coach Ty because the middles are not working as much as he wanted. So yeah, Chumasam Injiga could be a game changer, and Mark Espejo, just let him get to work.
Immediately impactful is Chumason Injiga.
Well, that is what is known of Injiga, really. Every time he comes off the bench, he is all heart. That's what they need here in set number 3.
They wanted to put him in late in that second set, but they ran out of substitutions. But he kept himself ready, now playing. Bugawan was dug up. Requinton picked up by Ramirez. Retamar goes to Rotter, and he will find the corner.
Boy, you know, it doesn't have to be a strong hit as long as it's inside the court of Criss Cross. Rotter just, what can we say? He's going to town. What an angle there.
For Criss Cross, you need to play loose once again. They're a little bit tentative, a bit tight. Good save as the ball will be kept alive. Retamar sends it to the other side. Polvorosa to Injiga, sent back. And that sails out though. Injiga with 2 points.
And you can feel a different energy there on the side of Criss Cross. That is what they are looking for, right? Different energy, higher intensity.
Intal also seeing action here in the third set. Bugawan sent back, block, scored on by Criss Cross.
Boy, the bench now working for Coach Ty. That's what you want to see. You know, you bring somebody off the bench as talented, we all know that, and they're working.
Retamar, where will he go? Ramirez staying consistent. Scoring on the check ball.
Look at this set. 1-on-1. And Ramirez, we know he's on today. You can't give him one blocker.
JP Bugawan, the team captain, serving. Polvorosa to Intal. Too strong. Referee saying no touch. 3 apiece.
Well, they have to be wary about these errors. You want to build the lead right now. If you're Criss Cross, you're starting really well or better than the first 2 sets.
Another good serve from Bugawan. Espejo was roofed.
The defense really of Cignal. I think they really worked on their net defense prior to game number 3.
Claiming the lead now. With 3 straight points, Cignal HD. Long coming from Bugawan. But you understand what he's doing. Pinapakamay niya kay Garcia. No? He's trying to send it to Garcia a bit high. So there was a miscalculation there. A tiny bit from Bugawan. Quinton with 7 points after picking up 17 in game 2.
That's a good serve.
Ramirez. That is off the block and into the antenna. Lead shifts back to Cignal.
Boy, you know, you really understand that Betamar is really milking Ramirez. Again, just a one-on-one for Ramirez, and he punishes that.
Like maybe he was the guy that the defense of Crisscross is not ready for. But it will be a service error for Rotter.
Really close 3rd set. Again, for those who just joined us, look at the score line. Cignal is ahead 2-0. Criss Cross in a must-win.
Oh, service error as well. Coming from Espejo.
They're taking some pace off of that.
The man of the moment for the HD Spikers. 11 points. Sorry, check that. 10 points. 8 and 2 for Ramirez. But he sends this one long. That is 2 straight service errors now for Cignal HD.
3 straight service errors
In the game,
combined.
yeah. Rex Intal now tasked for Criss Cross. Rotter beats the defense of Requinton.
Oh, again, perfect set for Ower at the mark. Look at that. No blockers. Boy, I mean, Ower at the mark just making his teammates look really good.
The dive coming from Espejo. The slide in Jighagen.
Yeah. Shumasam Injiga spark off the bench, we have to say.
Three points for Chu to give life to their cause.
Yep.
One hand set. Good defense from Criss Cross. Garcia picked up by Lorenzo.
Good dig.
They go to Rotter.
Oh,
It crosses.
no.
Retamar with a set. Miguel off speed picked up. Requinton.
Still alive. Oh.
The dive coming from Wendell Miguel. Not enough to keep that ball in play. 8-7 as we head into our first technical timeout of this third set. It has to take that kind of effort. Buwis Buhay volleyball being played inside the Phil Sports Arena. Criss Cross.
championship. And speaking of Cignal, let's talk about Steven Rotter. I started the conference with an MVP mindset and I'm gonna end it with an MVP mindset and maybe even a title ang sabi sa akin ni Steven. Now, this is his first full conference and already his best dahil lumabas talaga ang laro niya. What ignited his amazing performance is actually because lagi siyang pinapagalitan ni Coach Dex, which Steven loves. This is what ignites him to constantly improve and prove himself, earning the title as main opposite hitter of the HD Spikers this conference. Carlo Narine.
Thank you so much, Ayana, for that report, and he has certainly been on point here in this match. Great serve from Injiga. Ramirez. Roof denied.
Yep, and his name is Rex Intal, making his presence felt.
Some momentum now on the side of the Criss Cross King Crunchers. Rex Intal with a block, forcing this time out from Cignal.
Center in 6 tayo. Pag kay Louie, idulo mo talaga na itaas para mas may option siya. Pagkabiti na bababa, nahirapan siya mag-option. Now, ibari mo naman yung attack mo eh. Bad set na nga eh. Pwedeng i-drop, pwedeng gamitin yung kamay para makapuntos. Side out, right away, side out. Go. Discard. Go.
2-point disadvantage for Criss Cross as they want to extend this matchup. I mean, you competed against Cignal for 10 sets already here in the final. You can't give them an easy win here. You have to give it all you got here in the third set.
Again, yeah, you have to acknowledge the fact that they've won multiple championships and they know how to win. So yeah, you have to come together if you're Criss Cross.
Oh! Straight into the head of Rex Intal. They will smile it off, but that is both painful and costly for Criss Cross.
Well, we asked for one comic relief. Here's a second one for you.
Ouch! We continue with the action. Polvorosa going to Espejo. Check ball.
Well, that's a familiar sight we've seen for years. Polvorosa to Espejo.
With Rex Intal.
And Rex Intal. Yeah, but, you know, for Criss Cross fans, you're hoping that, okay, you gotta get Mark Espejo, the phenom, going.
Decent pass to work with. But Sumanggit keeps it in play. Espejo off speed, picked up by Retamar. Lorenzo bumps it up. Ramirez, explosive.
how good does it feel, no, for Louis Ramirez? You're in a team full of superstars, and Coach Dex is designing plays for you, a youngster.
Valbuena coming in for Retamar.
Trust Coach Dex if you're a Cignal fan.
That is too strong from Rotor. Back to a 2-point lead for Crisscross, and now Casanya checks in.
Now it makes
Now they
sense.
have a setter.
Now it makes sense, huh?
Mark Espejo coming off the bench. Another service error. Cuts their lead to 1.
You know, we have to say, all these fans of Crisscross, they're waiting for Mark Espejo to actually explode in this match. A couple of errors still, but you can feel the, you know, people really anticipating.
The middle works. That old connection. Polvorosa to Intal. A point for Crisscross.
Boy, the intensity of Rex Intal, a little bit of chit-chat at the net. You can see Wendell Miguel.
A yellow card that Rex Intal will smile off. Again, and not surprising, this series has gotten so hot that the intensity, you can feel it. Casanya to Miguel, and that will hit the antenna. Off the block.
Wendell Miguel is feeling it right now. You can see, you know, his reactions. He's hot.
Tosapat, 6 points in the contest. Key contributions. Polvorosa with a set, and Jigha gets blocked. And this will cross.
Yeah, still alive.
Polvorosa to the quick, and Jigha says bye. See ya.
Boy, that's a great set by Ish Polvorosa. Polvorosa showing that he could actually dump it over, but he opted to set it and play patient. You gotta see it.
The quick reset, Polvorosa to Injiga. And then the wave. Sumanggit picks it up. Polvorosa to Garcia.
Oh,
it's
still
alive. Miguel picked up once again. From the back,
Whoa!
Espejo!
That is what we were talking about. The fans of Mark Espejo and Crisscross were waiting for.
Pipe bomb from Mark Espejo, the phenom. We have to take another look at it. Soaring, flying,
Woo!
like it was old times. Espejo sends them into the second technical timeout, up by AP Season 87 Volleyball is live and exclusive here on Cignal. Watch it all live on the UAAP Varsity channel, One Sports, and Pilipinas Live, because legends start here. 16-13. A 3-point lead. You feel that this is a luxury already for Crisscross after what they have gone through in the first 2 sets.
Well, yeah, they're in a must-win situation because they are down 2-0.
Casanya with a set to Miguel. He will score. Pulling one back is Wendell Miguel with key contributions to keep them within striking distance here in the third.
Yeah, when you talk about intensity, look at that. Look at that reaction. He has it. He really wants to win.
Oh, service error from Valbuena. Retamar, Rotter, back in the game. Still down by 3 is Cignal. Strong serve coming from Garcia, but picked up ably. Great dig from Polvorosa. Requinton.
Good save.
Sumanggid was there. Polvorosa to Espejo
Oh!
again.
Boy, Mark Espejo, back-to-back hits.
No other choice really, but for Cignal to call a halt to the action. A timeout for the HD Spikers as Crisscross is heating up.
Okay. Tinatsaga tayo. Tinatsaga tayo. Have patience. Okay? Okay? Have patience. Okay? Okay? Nakakadepensa sila. So kailangan, pag nakakadepensa sila, nagka-transition, naka-ready tayo to block and defense. Okay, so tsaga. Tsaga.
Focus sa isa pa rin. Focus sa isa. Side out to that.
Center in one. Hanggat maaari, dito yung bola. Para magkukumit sa quicker, magkukumit dito. System, single block. Paano nyo naman, receive, again, dito banda. Okay? Go, go, side out, side out, side out.
That timeout will be the last for Cignal HD here in this third set. So you know how much they need to come back quickly into it. Coach Dex Lamore risking it because he knows it's difficult to contend with a Crisscross squad with momentum, so he has to halt it here and now at the expense of his final timeout of the set.
Yeah, you need a stop. It's obvious. Crisscross has a 4-point lead, and you have Mark Espejo going berserk. So yeah, you need a stop.
Yung mga hugot ni Coach Ty Bundit working out well for him. In Giga in particular. Garcia serving, and it is out. So the timeout worked. They froze the server. They're within 3.
Point to Coach Dexter for a good timeout. And you know what I realized also here in game number 3, at least if you just take this, no? He's opting to use Alfred Valbuena because Alfred Valbuena has actually been here in this situation for so many conferences. So his trust with Alfred Valbuena off the bench.
The block goes long from Bugawan. Back to a 4-point lead for Crisscross. Service specialist Pemi Bagalay into the match.
Now, if you're Crisscross, you want to add to your lead and try to make quick work here in set number 3.
Ramirez goes cross court.
What a set. How many times we're going to say that? What a set by Retamar. Look at that one-on-one. And we know Louis Ramirez, since he entered this match, you cannot give him a one-man block.
Team captain Bugawan serving. Espejo tough angle, but he will connect nonetheless.
Well, Mark Espejo playing it smart right now, not just strong hits, hitting it off the blockers.
20-16 in favor of Crisscross.
Look at the front row of Crisscross. You're talking about nostalgic? That is that.
Ramirez says, my time is now, though.
Boy, he has been on fire in today's game.
The reception, the attack, the point for Ramirez. Good defense from Requinton to keep it in play. Espejo is denied though. Could this be the start of the turnaround? 2-point deficit for Cignal HD.
A great response from Cignal off that Coach Dexter timeout. 3-man block ready for Mark Espejo. And guess who? Louis Ramirez with that block.
Rotter, too much behind it. Another service error coming from him. Back to a 3-point lead for Crisscross.
But I like the way Coach Dex just allows them to do their thing. You know, they serve to the net, that's fine.
The scramble will keep it in play for Crisscross. Ozafat though on the second try will score.
Smart. Again, smart setting. The defense of Crisscross scrambling there. Quick reaction on this connection. Oh, Retamar, look at that. Defense scrambling.
Ramirez serving, 14 points in the game. The slide sent back by Miguel. Garcia sent back by the double. One more try for Jude. Now a chance to attack. Miguel, soft touch. Hooked up, kept alive by Sumangid. Back row, Ramirez.
Whoa, still alive.
Requinton denied. The rally continues. The best of this match so far. And Garcia says enough.
Woo! What defense by both these teams. You have to give it. But someone's got to get that point, and Crisscross does.
An emphatic point from Garcia to extend their lead. But Polvorosa on the bench right now.
Cramps.
Did not see exactly when or what happened. But really, Polvorosa has been the focal point of what has worked for Crisscross here in the third set. They'll have to figure out the next few points without him for the time being, as Jewel Asia, a veteran, will come in.
Boy, let's hope that nothing serious. I think he stepped on Intal's foot there.
You can see Ish trying to inspire a squad from the bench. They just had a service error, and now look at this. Jao Umandal coming back into this ball game after not seeing action for a majority of the first and the entire second and third sets.
And we have to say, Wendell Miguel has been playing so well.
Absolutely. 2-point game. Garcia scores on the check.
Yeah, Garcia's got to step up here. Only 10 points. That was his 11th point.
And you will have to think that Jewel Asia will keep it safe to begin with. Just go to your man, right? Go to Jude Garcia.
Oh, that was a timely hit from Jude Garcia.
Oh,
good save.
Retamar was picked up by Sumangid. Difficult angle, dug up by Rotter. Jao Mandal, fresh as a daisy. Wow. Scores a point.
Boy, whoever Coach Dexter puts in really contributes. Jao Mandal, come on. Come on.
Ish Polvorosa being assisted by a couple of his teammates. They might work on him on the side. 23-21. Cignal down by 2. Retamar serving. Kept it short. Back to Garcia. Picked up by Ramirez.
Ooh.
Chance ball though for Crisscross. Asia with a set from the back. Picked up by Rotter. Back to Mandal again!
Whoa! it's not all power. He's just looking at the defense and getting the ball in.
Again, he is fresh. The adrenaline, the energy, and the power from Chao Mandal will get them within a point. Timeout, Criss Cross.
Four, substitution. Go, can, go. Center, cannot come, injured.
Guys, kaya natin to, tiwala sa isa. Araw-araw tayo magkasama, alam natin kung paano gumalaw ang isa't isa. Isa muna tayo, okay?
Side out tayo sa...
Let's go!
Let's go! Hey, Crisscross! Crisscross! Ready tayo nyo.
1-point game. Criss Cross ahead 23-22, but it is Cignal up 2-0 here in game 3. Ritamar serving. Criss Cross goes to Injigha.
Oh.
That crosses. Asia back to Injigha, denied! And it goes out, and we're tied at 23.
You know, again, the defense actually is working for Cignal. $23 all.
2 points away from their third straight championship. Criss Cross will go to Garcia. That is bumped up. Second touch, but it will cross. That goes out. We're at set point for Criss Cross.
And you can see Chao Mandal calming his team. That was nerve setting in for Luis Ramirez.
Jude Garcia serving to extend this match. Ritamar to Rotter. That sails out, and we will see an extension to this third set.
Boy, what do you expect? These boys from Cignal refusing to give up this third set. Once upon a time, Criss Cross had a 4-point lead.
Wendell Miguel serving. Garcia, too much power.
That is a terrific set from Jewel Asia.
This is a pseudo timeout coming from Coach Dex Clamor. Again, he's out of timeouts. No chance to stop play. So he will issue a challenge instead.
And that was a point, actually, for Criss Cross.
Oh, clear. Coming from Garcia. Again, it was more of the break. It was more of the halt to the action, which was the point for Coach Dexter Clamor.
But you and I were talking about it. Coach Dexter has been solid today.
He's been on point
with his decision making.
Now serving for the set, though. The game changer on the other side, Chu Injiga. Ramirez sent back. Ritamar with the first touch. They go back to Ramirez. Picked up. Golden opportunity. Espejo. There's a joust, but a point for Ramirez to tie the contest anew.
Boy, you know, first that stop on Mark Espejo and Luis Ramirez just playing it smart. Look at that. Look at the reaction of the coaching staff.
Tied game. Team captain serving. Asia goes to Espejo. And he gets the lead back for Criss Cross.
He may not be perfect in terms of efficiency, but when you need a point, you still go to Mark Espejo. That is a good option.
Jewel Asia serving. Third time, third try to win this set. Ramirez picked up by Sumanggid. Espejo overcooks it.
Boy, wasted opportunity on the side of Criss Cross. That was a great dig. Oh, nerve setting in, we have to say.
Tied again. It's been a minute since Cignal has tasted the lead. Will they finally get it here? Rotter pulling back some power from the serve. Espejo, roof, absolutely roof by the Cignal defense.
And all the emotions coming out.
But there will be a challenge on a net fault coming from Criss Cross.
Boy, you know, Carlo, you don't envy Jewel Asia because
Of course.
who are you gonna give it to?
Yep.
Jude Garcia, reigning MVP. Marcus Pair, the Phenom.
Sure. But again, he is pushed into this tough situation because of the injury, the unfortunate injury suffered by Ish Polvorosa. No net fault.
That was clean.
And now it's championship point for the Cignal HD Spikers. 27-26. Rotter serving for the crown.
For all the marbles. What a serve.
Asia goes to Espejo, denied, but it's alive. Garcia with a pickup. Retamar to Rotter for the championship. It's theirs! The Cignal HD Spikers, champions of the Open Conference.
And look at the reaction. Look at that. Look at that. From the get-go, Carlo, we already felt how much they wanted it.
2 is more than 4. You say that it's a mathematical mistake, but that is exactly the number that the Cignal HD Spikers will bank on. They've matched up 6 times here in our Open Conference. 4 times they tasted defeat to the Criss Cross King Crunchers. But those 2 wins were at the most crucial stage of the tournament. A 5-setter in Game 1 and an unlikely 3-set sweep here in Game 3 as the dynasty continues. It stays alive for Cignal HD.
Well, you have to commend Coach Dexter Clamore and the rest of the coaching staff. They were prepared. The decisions they were making, the substitutions. I mean, even we were like dumbfounded with those decisions. But boy, trust the coach. He knows best, and he showed us today.
We went to Rotter. Sumanggid was there. And look at this. The try coming from Espejo, risking everything to keep that ball in play, to keep their championship hopes alive, to keep them in this matchup. But there was too much behind the attack coming from Rotter. And as a result, Cignal HD will win the championship here in our Spikers Turf Open Conference.
Boy, you know, some of these players in tears, you feel for them because, you know, this match, I mean, for Cignal, you really feel what Spikers Turf has embodied, and it's where power meets passion. Cignal really showing us passion and power.
You know, Cignal HD already the winningest squad in Spikers turf history, but this might be the sweetest among them all because they were clear underdogs here in this matchup. I mean, they lost thrice to Criss Cross, twice in the elimination round, once in the semifinals, and then they added Mark Espejo into their active lineup, but still, they found a way. And as Rudy Tomjanovic said, you don't ever doubt the heart of a champion, and that is exactly what the Cignal HD Spikers displayed. Their 9th championship, the most in Spikers turf history. A mostly intact lineup. Yes, they might have lost a couple of names here and there, but they stay undefeated in game 3s. And it was emphatic this time around, our first ever 3-peat champions. They started with so much focus, a lot of energy, a lot of aggression as well. And it stayed on. They were challenged, they were pushed to the very edge here in our 3rd set, but they hung tough, they stayed together.
The next award is the Best Opposite Spiker Award. For a first-time showing in this league, he has impressed the crowd with his scoring prowess from the right side of the court. This conference's Best Opposite Spiker is number 4 of the Cignal HD Spikers, Steven Rotter. The Best Libero. Consistently starting off as his coach's first choice for defense, this athlete has proven himself worthy of the trust as he delivers the ball almost perfectly to his team's setter for an attack creation. Also, last year's Invitational Conference awardee, the Best Libero for this conference, comes from the Cignal HD Spikers. Number 7, Vince Lorenzo. Now the MVP of the conference, a high leaper and an intense hitter. This athlete has managed to lead his highly competitive team through his scoring and defensive skills. A third-time awardee, the most valuable player for this conference, comes from the Criss Cross King Crunchers. Number 5, Jude Garcia. Bago po tayo tumuloy, may we ask for a few words from our most valuable player of the conference, Mr. Jude Garcia. We pass on the microphone to you.
Thank you po.
At ngayon, sino kaya ang MVP of the finals? Though a newcomer to the league, he has outshone his performance. This is no other than number 4 of the Cignal HD Spikers, Steven Rotter. A few words from you, Mr. Rotter.
Just want to say thank you, Coach Dexter. Thank you, Juanito. Thank you, Sir Augie. Thank you, Cignal Management. Thank you, Wendell. Thank you, my dad. Thank you, my mom. Thank you, my girlfriend. Thank you, everyone that came to support Cignal. Let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you our Spikers Turf Open Conference Elite Team Awardees. Palakpakan po natin sila. Congratulations to all of you and thank you to all our presenters. We will see you in our next conference.
Congratulations to all individual awardees. You know, your heart breaks for Ishpol Porosa, seeing him get that award as our top setter here in Spikers Turf. Hope that he could bounce back quickly from his injury and come back stronger here in Spikers Turf for the Criss Cross King Crunchers. They treated us to an amazing series. Of course, we expected another tough 5-setter between these two teams, but the champions stamping their class here in Game 3. That's why Cignal will remain on top.
Yeah, you feel also for the MVP of the conference. His third maybe, but you know, the title meant more or should have meant more than the individual award. But yeah, it is not meant to be. It is still Dynasty over Destiny.
For the last time, we congratulate the Cignal HD Spikers, champs anew of our Spikers Turf Open Conference. For Miss Ayana Perlas, for Mr. Ringo, I'm Carlo Pamintuan, thanking you for sticking with us 41 matches down, and the champions are still Cignal HD. We'll see you next time here on Spikers Turf.